జరుగుతున్న ఇన్వెస్టర్స్ సమ్మిట్ కు భారీ స్పందన వస్తోంది. ఈ సదస్సును కేంద్ర మంత్రి అరుణ్ జైట్లీ ప్రారంభించారు. దాదాపు 50 దేశాలకు సంబంధించినటువంటి ప్రతినిధులు ఈ సదస్సులో పాల్గొన్నారు. ప్రస్తుతం లైవ్ చూద్దాం.
Very distinguished colleagues, Mr. Raju, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, three main leaders of the industry, Mr. Chandrajit Banerjee, and all my distinguished friends. I am here to welcome all of you on behalf of the state of Andhra Pradesh. I am very fortunate that I represent this great state in the Parliament of India. And therefore, it's my proud privilege to welcome all those who would like to invest in Andhra Pradesh. As a representative of the state, to welcome you, to assure you that we'll be walking with you towards the path of progress till you achieve your ultimate goal. So let me thank you for being here, and let me assure you that we'll continue to walk together and we'll continue to progress together. It's very heartening to see that Andhra Pradesh is organized this event at a very appropriate time. In fact, you must have noticed that India is changing and changing very fast. Some of the very momentous decisions taken by our Honorable Prime Minister has really put India into a different growth trajectory. I remember a very famous saying of Lenin. He said, one step backward, two steps forward. I think when you want to really move fast and want to sprint and want to really run at a faster pace than before, then you must wait, stop, look at the situation and then charge towards your goal. We have been suffering for too long a time when there was not really a level playing field in the country. Some people could amass wealth, but they never could account for it. There were the people who could have an undue advantage over others because some people had a possibility of holding the money which was never accounted for. So Prime Minister took a very momentous decision, and today you can see that not demonetization, the remonetization and the new things which are going to really come in as a consequence of this. In fact, this morning I was reading a report of one of the top brokerages of the world, Nomura. And they are saying that India's growth trajectory will now be in a completely different league as a consequence of the changes that have been introduced. At the same time, thanks to the leadership of a Chief Minister and his colleagues in the different states, we are going to have a very soon a one unified tax regime in the country. The GST, and Honorable Finance Minister, Prime Minister really spearheading it, and that again will herald India into a completely different growth trajectory. Coupled with it is a huge investment that we are trying to put into the infrastructure of the country. I will tell you only about railways. Railways is to put 40,000 crores in a year into the railways infrastructure. And most of this money was spent on Northeast, Kashmir or some of these predetermined projects. First year, the full budget of this government when we presented, we increased the investment to 1 lakh crore. Last year, 1,21,000 crore. And this year, in fact, I cannot tell you the number because the budget is going to be presented to the Parliament in the next few days, but it will be definitely higher than this. Means almost 3 lakh crores has been going to be invested into the railways in the span of 2.5 years, which in addition to whatever out of budget investments the railways are making by high-speed railway, by giving contracts to different agencies like GE and Alstom and many others. Station redevelopment and many other projects will also bring in more investment. But the point I am making is not about the railways, but the investment that are happening in the infrastructure of India, which in turn will spur a huge growth in the country. And who is going to drive the growth? The growth will be driven by the states. The states will be the one who will actually take India to a different growth trajectory. And therefore, this summit, which is appropriately called a partnership summit, India has to grow, India will grow, but India will grow with partnerships. Partnership with rest of the world, partnership within the country with different states, with the states and the private sector, states and technology providers, and all others together will make this partnership to take India to a real summit that it is destined to reach. And that's why it is Partnership Summit. So I am very happy that it is taking place in Andhra Pradesh, a state which has a huge potential to grow. But more importantly, as you know, in any business organization, any social organization, even the state needs leadership. And I know Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, as a Chief Minister in his previous regime, when he was the Chief Minister of undivided Andhra Pradesh, I was the Minister of Power. We were trying to tell everybody that you must reform power sector. And nobody wanted to do it because there was a first pain and then only gain. Everybody wants gain, but no pain. I wish a baby can be born without labor pain, but it never happens that you must have pain to actually get gain, and therefore Andhra Pradesh was the first state. Mr. Chandrababu Naidu was the first Chief Minister who supported the central government's program of power sector reform. And what is the result of that? That time we had only 1 lakh megawatts of power capacity. Thanks to the new reform that we initiated, thanks to the leadership of my good friend Piyush Goyal, now we have got 3 lakh megawatts of power sector capacity, which has increased 3 times in the matter of only about 10-12 years when we introduced the new law, Electricity Act 2003. And now we can see the changes, 1 decade of reform and how much changes could be brought in. And that was only because of a vision leadership of the Chief Minister. Even at that time, and Subhashji rightly mentioned, benchmarking against the global benchmark, but he should actually put his benchmark even higher because his vision is even higher. But even that time, the human development indices, which never was thought to be a part of public policy, which was thought to be only the UNDP will compile it and publish it once in a year. Mr. Chandrababu Naidu, along with Mr. Narendra Modi, that time the Chief Minister of Gujarat, were the only 2 Chief Ministers who decided to introduce and integrate human development indices as a mission for development of the state. And that's the result. And therefore, going by his track record, I am very sure that very soon you will have a fully developed state, despite the fact that Andhra Pradesh is created, or rather the new state was created out of Andhra Pradesh, and Andhra Pradesh got more liabilities than assets. More liabilities than assets. But the biggest asset Andhra Pradesh has is a leadership which will drive the growth of Andhra Pradesh in the next few decades' time, and therefore I am really looking forward to all of you riding this wave of growth that is really going to come in this state and in the country in the next few years' time. I know there are leaders who are very technology savvy, but rarely you will find a leader who has a technological bent of mind, but also a heart which brings in human quality, human policy. So this is an amalgam of technology to be used to deliver what is really people-friendly policy. And therefore I am very sure and looking forward to the state growing at a rate which will be much, much faster than any other state in the next few years' time. I know we have called it, and Mr. I want to request Mr. Banerjee that you have called it sunrise state. It's right. Today is sunrise. But when sun rises, it rises for a short time. It shines for a long time. So I think Andhra Pradesh is a rising state because it is now rising on the path of growth. But you should appropriately call it not sunrise state, but sun shining state. This is a state which is keep going shining for decades to come, and therefore I am very sure that for a long time to come there will be a huge possibilities of this country, this state becoming the growth engine of the whole India. In fact, all 29 states grow at a faster rate. India will grow even beyond 10%. But for that, some states will have to take a leadership far more than the rest of the states. And Andhra Pradesh has that potential, that capability, that leadership. And therefore, I am very sure in the next few years' time, you will see the state growing at a faster rate. In fact, just now, we are talking about many ideas. I remember they are talking to Japan. And I was telling Japan that you are called as this country where the sun rises first. I said, yeah, sure, sun rises first because sun rises in the east. But just imagine, you are a state where sun rises, but we are a country where sun shines all the time. So why not we join hands together? So I think this is the partnership in which many countries can join together to make Andhra Pradesh as a growth engine. I know Mr. Gopinath Pillai, I can see him sitting there as an ambassador of Singapore and ambassador large from Singapore. Singapore is one country which says that we like to partner with Andhra Pradesh because we can see the growth coming here. You go to any other part of the world, you meet the ambassadors, you meet the ministers, you meet the prime minister, they will say, we want to invest in India, but we also want to invest in Andhra Pradesh. And that is the new sub-national identity which is really helping Andhra Pradesh to even grow at a much faster rate. I am very sure that Andhra has several natural advantages. One big advantage is, as was just pointed out, that it is located on the east, which is a gateway to east as well as the southeast of the world. Tomorrow, the growth is going to happen in Asia, which everybody agrees. Asia is the future of the world. Asia is going to bring in the highest growth. But which part of Asia will bring the highest growth? It will be the South Asia, Southeast Asia and East Asia. And just imagine the strategic location of Andhra Pradesh. It is located right on the hub of the new growth engine of the world. And therefore, investing in Andhra Pradesh is not just investing in India, it is also investing into the growth sectors of tomorrow, the growth geographies of tomorrow, and therefore this is the ideal place for investing into wherever you want to invest. This is the right place. Secondly, which is going to be very important, is maritime states will grow at a much faster rate than the remaining states. As we know, and Prime Minister has always been talking about it, not just port development, but port-led development. Now just imagine Andhra Pradesh having so many ports, such a good maritime boundary, you can imagine the growth that will happen. So investing in any state will bring in growth because you are investing in India, but investing in Andhra Pradesh will bring in even faster growth because of these natural advantages that you have. When you are riding, when you are actually selling, you are selling with the wind, you can grow faster. So if you are selling and you are actually investing in Andhra Pradesh, you can imagine that the growth that can really be brought in. And therefore, I really wish to congratulate the Chief Minister, the state, and particularly all of you, the potential investors, because you are choosing the time of investment at the right time. I know as the years will progress, there will be thousands and thousands of people will be queuing up to say that we would like to invest. But you are the first mover's advantage because you are the first one trying to come and invest here. I know the next year, I very surely, and Mr. Banerjee, you must provide 10 times of this size because so many new investors are going to come in. So therefore, when they come in, they'll find it difficult. And just imagine, this place is a makeshift place. This is not a regular center. Can you imagine? Does it look like a makeshift? It looks like a real one. So the creator of a makeshift and going to be the real growth engine of the country, you can imagine what's going to happen. So let me congratulate you. Let me congratulate Subhashji for putting only small amount. He said 5,000 crores. So as if you are saying 5 rupees, as I can say. So making 5,000 crores as a small investment, I am sure many others would like to exceed it, bring in more money, and that will really bring in the new growth into the country. Just the last point, and I am really impressed with this, that if you go around and see the new breed of entrepreneurs in the country, they came in the last 3 decades. Many of them have become very successful. They invested money into infrastructure when everybody was considering it as a risk. They created world-class infrastructure, as some of them have already mentioned. And many of them, it is not just accident, but you will find their ancestry, they are from Andhra Pradesh. So this is something which must really be thought about. And Mr. J.M. Rao, you must start an academy to tell people why Andhra Pradesh people succeed all the time. So this entrepreneurship that we have, coupled with infrastructure, with the leadership that is being provided, you can imagine the new growth that will happen in the country, and I really wish to congratulate him. I was just glancing through the Vision 2029, which is prepared by the state government. Each and every aspect of that is covered, including the new sustainable development goals. I think these are the important issues because after some time we are going to see that a growth might come, but then we'll be not benefiting from it unless we have this environmental issue directly mainstream into this. So I really congratulate him. Again, as a member of parliament, I consider it as my great honor. In fact, this is one reason why you should invest in Andhra Pradesh. There are certain sensitivities, people will always look at it, that when you invest, what will other people think? My example is, I was not born in Andhra Pradesh, but I am adopted in Andhra Pradesh. Now therefore, you can imagine the inclusiveness of the state, wherein I am now considered as a member of Parliament of Andhra Pradesh. I think you must give certificate that I was also citizen of the state. I really look forward to you all becoming also such a proud citizens of the state as I am today. All the best to you. Jai Hind.